Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back on the 12th and final day of the 12 Days of Christmas. Well, we've made it through the 12 Days of Christmas, and it sure has been fun. But now, it's game over. No, literally. That's what I'll be reviewing. Game Over. Game Over is a 1989 home invasion slasher film, also known as 3615 Code Pierre Noel, Dial Code Santa Claus, and Deadly Games. My buddy Brad, Bronco Juggalo, actually just reviewed this movie under the title Deadly Games for the Slashback Challenge. I created this DVD copy myself since there is no Region 1 or Region A release of the film, and I opted to go with the title Game Over, because I think it's the most appropriate, especially after watching the movie. Okay, so let me start off by saying this. This movie was amazing. Seriously, king brilliant. If you watched Brad's review for Slashback, and I'm sure you have, if you haven't, make sure to do so, then you know all about this one, so I don't really want to give too much away. Basically, this truly is the horror movie version of Home Alone, which is sort of a coincidence, since the first movie I reviewed for the 12 Days of Christmas was also described that way. But as much as Better Watch Out was the horror Home Alone, Game Over is even more so. It's about a young boy named Thomas, who is a computer genius. He's absolutely brilliant. He's also very much imaginative and plays out different scenarios in his house. The opening scene is literally him dressing up as Rambo and playing games with his dog, JR. By the way, his house is actually a mansion, a castle even. It's specifically mentioned in the movie that the mansion has hundreds of rooms. Besides his dog, JR, Thomas also lives with his mother, who owns multiple businesses, and his grandfather, who is almost blind and diabetic. There are also housekeepers and maids. I mean, after all, a mansion with hundreds of rooms needs housekeepers and maids. The mansion, which, like I said, is pretty much a castle, is the absolute best thing about this movie. I love the house. It's so awesome. The various rooms, there are literally mazes and secret passages. It's fantastic. I wish I had seen this movie when I was younger. It's one of those films that you probably enjoy living vicariously through the main character, in this case, Thomas. So, anyway, it's Christmas Eve, and Thomas is having a little trouble deciding if he believes in Santa Claus or not. His friend tells him that Santa isn't real. But there's a website where you can communicate with Santa Claus. So Thomas and his friend try it out. The person on the other line claims to be the real-life Santa Claus. And despite being brilliant, trusting in this, Thomas gives him his information, such as his name and address. Unfortunately for Thomas, it's obviously not the real Santa. It's a homeless man who was working as a department store Santa and was recently fired for hitting a child. That's not the worst of it, though. Following his termination, the Psycho Santa goes on a killing spree, leading right to Thomas's house. Thomas's mother is working late on Christmas Eve, so Thomas is alone at home with his grandfather, and it's up to Thomas to defend the mansion. He dresses as Rambo once again, and using his skills and brilliant mind, sets up booby traps around the house. He takes his grandfather through secret passageways and hides him in hidden rooms, one of which is filled with his father's toys, his grandfather's toys, and toys of his own. But this Psycho Santa is also pretty smart, and so it becomes a deadly game of cat and mouse, and there can only be one winner. For the other, it'll be game over. I absolutely loved this movie, guys. I wish I had seen it when I was younger, as I already stated. This was fantastic. Thomas is such a little badass, and the Santa is genuinely creepy. There is some comic relief, but it's used sparingly and very well done. And that mansion, my favorite part of the movie, is just so cool. One of my favorite settings in any horror movie. I mean, some of the rooms are obviously unrealistic. There's a random labyrinth of hallways at one point, but it's just so cool. Along with that hidden room filled with toys, but again, so cool. If you haven't seen Game Over or Deadly Games or 3615 Code Père Noël or Dial Code Santa Claus, I highly recommend you check it out. Have you already seen it? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And now guys, it's game over for the 12 Days of Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. This has been so much fun. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, be kind, subscribe.